Hello, one and all. This is just to sort of finish off the Genlab Alpha playlist. Um, a, uh, a denouement, if you like, for how our campaign um, finished up. And, it was always going to be an advanced, sped up campaign. And so the idea was to get out within just, a few sessions, get all the plot points, done, a little bit of exploration, little taste of what it's like to walk across the land, but, just get out of there, really. And of course, you've got the confined area of the valley itself, so it would start to get repetitive. There'd be a sense where of like a lack of things to discover eventually if you played for too long there. As for like the story of how it came about with our group, our lizard warrior ended up getting captured by the Watchers, and the player rolled a new character. He rolled a goat from the supplement thing, the player made supplement of the extra species that you can get hold of. And that was pretty cool. It was like, a Western sort of cowboy thing. And he's come from a different Genlab. He's come from like Genlab Delta. But he doesn't remember any of that because he's like another generation past that. And he's actually come from the outside, this mysterious outside. So he knows stuff about the outside. And, he'd basically got a paraglider, and he'd sailed in, and he was able to help the group out because he was trapped here now because his glider has broken. He's landed in the valley, and he's been experimented on and changed as well. The goat cowboy with mutation stuff, and he ended up with some messed up mutations and things as well. So, anyway, yeah, and then the other thing was, the lizard warrior, Dio, he confronted them while they were making their final push back, towards the labyrinth, towards Genlab Alpha. They were on their way, and he kind of was waiting for them, all kind of Darth Maul on the desert plain style. It's not a desert, but that sort of, I'm waiting for you. And the confrontation, they have this fight, and the players have really, really advanced at this point to a great degree, and they wipe him out, but they wipe out the robotic side because he's being turned into a cyborg at this point. So, but he's still able to kind of talk to them as himself. So I'm getting the player to still play him, and he's like, "No, you put me on the spot. You didn't prepare me for any of this." And I was like, "Well, he wasn't prepared for any of this. He's being made to walk here, and then he's suddenly just come upon everybody." So obviously, GLaDOS, GLaDOS, who controls the Watchers, GLaDOS, has sent him here. So we know it's Kronos, but GLaDOS, sent him there to confront them, and they get into this whole combat thing. But his living side is still alive. So once they finish with the facility, and they finished with it and managed to talk the big brain down and self-destructing and all that, and the way it's supposed to end. They get out, they manage to recover the body and, try to stabilize it in some way, and they realize that the life support systems that are inside are only going to last a few more days. So when they do leave and go out into the zone, they've got like maybe 5 days to find some way of saving his organic side, because he's been cybernetic. He's like part machine and part living. And the machine's acting like a life support to the living. But, the living can't live on its own anymore. So they don't know quite what to do. They need to try and fix the machine part, but they don't have the parts to do it, the batteries, the charge, or what to do. So that's kind of their little storyline. They've gone out into the zone, and it's kind of left all like up in the air what's going to happen. And I've got a fair idea of what's going to happen, but hey, and they got the goat with them now. The other interesting thing to say was I had them confront the Mark III Walker, um, and the idea they didn't get to fight it properly, full on, like full on, like biped form with sword. They got to witness it at the end flying away after it got repaired. They had a mini fight with it in its first form, but it had a different symbol on it. I had it have a different symbol on it, so it didn't have the Elysium symbol on it, the eagle with the head turned to the side. It had a different symbol on it, let's just say, and I'm not going to confirm which symbol it had on it. So the players had that little thing there, and of course they had the big info dump and everything. It's all the plot things, and they get the full discovery of what it is, and why is this other one here from another Titan power? What's it doing here? Yeah, we know that the robotic expertise Titan power was Noaton. We know that, so was it maybe them, or was it Mimir? Who knows? Yeah, I don't want to confirm or deny any of that at the moment. So it's strange, isn't it? Because you've had the answers to all these questions, yet it has left you with so many other questions, like this Mimir and Noaton, who are they, and why are Elysium calling them the bad guys, and the axis of evil as they were referred to. And if you saw them from if you saw a story from another point of view, like say when you're playing Mechatron as descendants of Noaton, a different Titan power indeed, you'd then see that they would refer to the other Titan powers as evil, and they are the good guys, because that's how it works. There's no bad guy in history that ever is like, oh, do you know what, I am actually evil. So there's a guy like actually called Dr. Evil who knows he's evil. He's like, let's be evil. It's not going to happen. Everybody thinks they're in the right, so that you end up with these kind of shades of grey all the time, versus different shades of grey with completely different ideas, versus completely different shades of grey from this side. So it's a triangle fight between these Titan powers, isn't it, effectively? The Enclave Wars, as it was called, after the fall. Yeah. So, there we are. Exciting stuff, actually. It's a good setting, I think. And another little fun thing we managed to do, just a little kind of tip that I've started to develop off my own back, was when you have to roll for an artifact or whatever, you can roll them up, and there's quite a few numbers at the end where it just says roll again, and it's like, why bother? What, you've just run out of stuff, really? So that sucks. So I'm not doing that, because what's the point of that? Put more stuff in, or what? So if it comes onto a roll again, I pick on a player. I either randomly pick a player, or just choose one I fancy asking this to, and I say, all right, in your room, what's the first thing you can see? What's the first thing you lay your eyes upon now? And whatever they name, that's what the artifact's going to be, probably, if I'm okay with it. And I did this with one of our players, with Timber. And what he saw was an iPhone in his room. So we had an iPhone there, and it had a place at one point where it was able to be charged, so a chance to actually use it. And our very clever scavenger chimp Faraday managed to get it working, and it couldn't connect to the net per se, but it could connect to its own server's intranet. So its provider's intranet, like Vodafone or whatever, it could connect to that and get its own intranet news feed. So there was nothing externalized out of that. No links were working beyond that. But all the server's own thing, so it had like a bit of news and stuff like that. So I was basically able to give them some info about some hints here and there about some of the meta plot that's happening outside of it without saying too much. So that was cool. And another opportunity was where he actually used the phone and got to try and ring somebody. It was like Ross's Bar or something, and basically the phone was answered, and this was somewhere out in the zone, somewhere in the world, and you know some mutant guy has just answered, and you know he's explaining, "Oh, my team have been wiped out and all this. I can't believe that this thing is working. So this communicator thing, it started making all this noise. You know, and I prodded it, and finally, you know, and I heard a voice coming out of it when I knocked it off the edge, but he says, "No, the ghouls are coming," sort of thing. So the noise has obviously attracted unwanted attention, and then they jump on him from down the phone. So he hears all this. Faraday on the phone there hears all this panic down the other end of the phone, and then it's just that's it. They're off into the distance, and it just stays off the hook, so he disconnects the call, kind of thing. So he's very, very, very clever chimp, this guy. You know, he's like properly sort of scary Planet of the Apes kind of level. You know, really, really scary clever. Yeah, so that's kind of how it ended. I think the players really really enjoyed it, and my thoughts turn next to Mechatron to try and achieve the same kind of thing. So look out for the first videos of the Mechatron playlist, where I'll be discussing my thought processes on the approach to actually trying to run that. Till next time, I'll see you at the table.